Hey everyone, and welcome to my preview looking ahead to this weekend's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So not long we've had to wait for this Grand Prix, having just been in Bahrain. But what a fantastic race in Bahrain to kickstart the new 2022 season. And if that race is anything to go by in the season opening race in Bahrain this year, then I think Saudi Arabia will be just as good. And I think the characteristics of the Jeddah circuit, I think, suggest that potentially we could be in for a good race as well. So yeah, very much looking forward to the race in Saudi Arabia this weekend. Obviously, going into the weekend on the back of a Ferrari 1-2 with Charles Leclerc, winning the race in Bahrain and Carlos Sainz finishing second. So a very strong weekend for the Scuderia in Bahrain, and they'll be looking to build on that into the weekend in Saudi Arabia. I think for me, what's really interesting, will be interesting, that is to see that where with Bahrain. I know I mentioned this in the review that I did for the season opener race, but so one of the things I mentioned was the fact that with Bahrain having slow corners, we know that the Jeddah circuit is pretty quick. It's a quicker circuit compared to Bahrain. So be interested to see whether Ferrari can perform well at Jeddah, and if they can, then I think that will suggest that Ferrari will definitely be right up there throughout the whole season, I feel. So yeah, very interesting to see how Ferrari get on this weekend. But obviously, as you'd expect, they'll be going into the weekend full of confidence after what they achieved in Bahrain. So yeah, as I say, interested to see how Ferrari fare in Saudi Arabia. I think for Mercedes as well, we know it's a power circuit. We know that Mercedes, well, we saw Lewis win there last year. So will it play into Mercedes' hands this weekend? Maybe. They've openly said. I think they've openly said they've still got a lot of work to do to get right to the very top. But if there's one, I know I keep saying this, but if there's one team that can develop their car quickly, make improvements quickly, it's Mercedes. So I think Mercedes, whilst they might not be at the sharp end, I would expect them. I'd like to think that they will at least be challenging for a podium this weekend, and I'd like to think that Mercedes will have potentially a stronger weekend, because in Bahrain, had it not been for the Red Bull retirements, they would have finished fifth and sixth, which would have meant the third quickest team. So we'll see what Mercedes how they fare um, this weekend in Saudi Arabia. So Lewis knows what it takes, obviously, because he won there last year, and yeah, interesting to see how Mercedes fare. I think for Red Bull, they'll be looking to bounce back pretty quickly after the double DNF in Bahrain. So not exactly the best of starts of the season for the Red Bull team, but I mentioned in review of the Bahrain Grand Prix the fact that there were still positives that I feel that Red Bull can take from the weekend from Bahrain. Verstappen Max was right up there, with challenging Charles. Had he not had the reliability issues, I think Max could potentially have won the race. He was there. So, and for Checo as well, he was up there as well, challenging for at least a podium position. So, there are positive signs for Red Bull, and the beauty about this weekend is that it happens, weekend in Saudi Arabia, it happens pretty quickly after the Bahrain Grand Prix, so they can get over the disappointment of the Bahrain weekend and look ahead to weekend in Saudi Arabia. Well, I think one of the memories of last year's weekend in Saudi Arabia was Max Verstappen in Q3. He was on for a stonking lap, and then I think penultimate corner he didn't bin the car, basically put the car in the barrier. One of his tyres touched the barrier, which meant that he was unable to complete the lap, which no doubt would have resulted in the Dutchman being on pole for the race. So yeah, Red Bull, big weekend for them in Saudi Arabia. They'll obviously want to be bounced back after what happened in Bahrain, but perhaps this is a track where we could see Red Bull win this weekend. So yeah, I think Red Bull. No, I think they will have well, results wise, I think they will have a good weekend, and I think they will genuinely. I think they'll come out on top this weekend. So I'll come on to talk about predictions later on. Yeah, so no, I feel the Red Bull will bounce back this weekend, so we'll wait and see whether that is the case. I mentioned about Mercedes, so we know three other teams in the on the grid powered by Mercedes, so Williams, Aston Martin, and McLaren. So yeah, pretty difficult weekends for all three of those teams in Bahrain. I thought Williams, to be fair, I think they didn't do too bad. I thought Alex Albon had a solid debut for Williams. You know, obviously he didn't score points, but I felt that he did a not a bad job on his debut for Williams, and yeah, I think Alex will take some at least some positives from the weekend in Bahrain. But for McLaren and for Aston Martin, two teams who will be expecting, well, they'll be hoping for big things this year, and not exactly the best of starts for them. In Bahrain. In Daniel Ricciardo's case, I do have a bit of sympathy for him actually because he did miss Bahrain test, not feeling well. Didn't really get much time in the McLaren car before that first Grand Prix, and even during free practices as well. So yeah, I did feel for Daniel Ricciardo actually. But hopefully now he's got that weekend under his belt, he'll be feeling a bit more comfortable with the car, and yeah, hopefully he has a strong weekend in Saudi Arabia. And you'd like to think that with the characteristics um, of the Jeddah circuit, that should suit McLaren, likes of Aston Martin and Williams as well. So I'm really intrigued to see how those teams get on this weekend. Will they bounce back after the disappointment? It's going to be, with McLaren, you'd like to think that they will. And same with Aston Martin as well. They'll be hoping, I'm sure they'll be hoping that Sebastian Vettel, who sadly tested positive for coronavirus ahead of the season opener, so they'll be hoping he'll be back for the weekend. I think Nico Hulkenberg, the fact that he came in and no, the fact that he qualified Lance Stroll as well, I think that was a fine achievement for Nico. Race didn't pan out; it was a difficult race for the German, but I think it was always going to be a tough race for Hulkenberg. But yeah, Aston Martin they'll be hoping for a big turnaround because last year wasn't the best of years for them, and they haven't exactly got off to a fantastic start to this year. So yeah, I can imagine Lawrence Stroll and I can imagine Aston Martin hierarchy are not happy with the way things are going at the moment. But we'll see what Jeddah brings, and who knows? If they can score some points, then that could be something that they can build on for the rest of the season. So yeah, those are some of the teams I think are worth keeping an eye out for. But I think two of the standout drivers I mentioned in the review of Bahrain, so Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas, two of the standout drivers, as I say, two teams who finished low in the constructors of last year, and two teams who have started the season off pretty solidly. And obviously, let's not forget Zhou Guan Yu scoring points on his debut as well in this year in Bahrain. So yeah, all round a good weekend for Alfa Romeo, and they'll be looking to build that consistency. That's the question now. What they're able to achieve in Bahrain, is it a one shot or actually is it something that they can build on? Do they have that genuine pace in that car? No, both in Alfa Romeo's case, but also Haas's case as well. But the signs look promising for both teams, and as I say, if they can build on that, if they can achieve some similar results in Saudi Arabia, then who knows what they could achieve this year? Look, I'm not expecting those teams to be challenging for the for both the constructors and the drivers' title, but if they can be in amongst that midfield and taking the fight, to the likes of McLaren, and Alfa Tauri, Alpine, for example, then they could cause some real upsets this year, Haas and Alfa Romeo. So and that's what we love about Formula One, isn't it? We love that David versus Goliath. We've seen so many unsung some stories where we've seen the small teams winning race. I still remember one race. I still remember. Was when Sebastian Vettel, I think it was 2008, winning for Toro Rosso, no, AlphaTauri now, winning in Monza in 2008. That was a fairy tale story. Giancarlo Fisichella, when he was driving for Force India 2009, putting the car on pole in Belgium. It's those stories that, really for me that I enjoy, and I'm sure as a neutral, that's what we like to see. So, to see Haas and Alfa Romeo performing as well as they did in Bahrain, I think was great for the neutral, great for Formula One as well. Um, and if we can see more midfield teams taking the fight to one another, I think can only be a good thing. Now, with regulations, it was designed to bring teams closer together, and the signs from Bahrain suggest that yeah, those are good signs, and we saw enough to suggest actually the midfield will be pretty close this year. So yeah, hats off to Haas and Alfa Romeo for what they achieved in Bahrain, but can they sustain that over the season? Time will tell, and we will wait and see. So yeah, predictions time for Saudi Arabia. I mentioned about Red Bull. I feel the Red Bull will come out on top this weekend. As long as they get on top of their reliability issues this weekend, then I can see, as I say, I think I can see Red Bull coming out on top this weekend. I just have a feeling that they're gonna bounce back really strong this weekend. So I am gonna go for a Max Verstappen win. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for Sergio Perez to finish second. I think we saw Ferrari have a 1-2 in Bahrain. I'm going to go for Red Bull 1-2. So Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez to finish second. And who will finish third? Who will finish third? Do I go for either someone from Ferrari or Mercedes, or should I go for someone different? You know what? I think because he won in Bahrain, because I feel that he will take plenty of confidence from the way he performed from Bahrain into the weekend in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to go for Charles Leclerc to finish third. So my top three: Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Charles Leclerc to finish in the top three. So that's my prediction for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Enjoy it, and if the Bahrain Grand Prix is anything to go by, then I think this weekend will be a cracking. We'll be in for a cracking race. So if you want to talk things Formula One, I'm on Twitter at Baggies20, and I'm also on Instagram ManagePatel89. So enjoy Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and I will catch up with all you guys and girls soon. Take care, everyone.